Yeah, he's even talking about kind of changing how assessments are being done. The general consensus seems to be kind of move to more real-time assessments. So instead of like take-home assignments and stuff like that, move to more assessing in the classroom. So even if, let's say, you gave out a project or whatever, they would still need to, kind of explain what was done, stuff like that, instead of, oh, you submit a project and it's marked and get a grade. So I mean, I don't know if we're too late or too far behind. But yeah, I mean, educators have started to think about like how we can incorporate it in the classroom.
But like, what's wrong with
Mm-hmm.
real-time GPT assisted assessment, where like
Mm-hmm.
the weight, there's a weight assigned to the quality of your prompts. That's literally
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Like even that people having
Yeah.
it kind of forces you to, ask better questions and like maybe even think about the problems on a deeper level. I
So if
think, yeah.
you see asking bad questions, then you know that they need help. But
So question though, with the idea there. So what if the GPT actually return one incorrect prompt totally?
pardon me?
So what if GPT return a completely incorrect prompt based on what you type in as the answer to the question? So how your mark would have gone in that case?
So if it returns an incorrect response, so like that's where you were supposed to do your additional research and I guess compare sources and all the things that you normally do if you're doing an assignment. Because if you Google an answer, you can get a wrong answer. You just have to keep search for the right sources and all this.
Yeah, but we're judging based on the quality of the prompt. So if you do a high quality prompt and on bad response, so there's something wrong with the prompt. No, not really. Not sure. There's something wrong with GPT on that end. But I'm not sure we want to go in a direction of like just like getting all our knowledge from a chatbot still. Like I don't nothing going to depend on it completely. Like it seems like I want to push people to like default to GPT or some kind of AI as them first source, but that shouldn't be a first source. That should be a supplementary source to like the proper thing, at least.
Okay, so I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that the quality of the prompt would simply be like a weight in the total weight of the assignment. So if everything is valued 60 marks, you have prompt quality valuing 10 marks out of the 60 marks, if you get what I mean. So it's not really the answer you're really looking for. Is the student asking the right question?
Okay, but that kind of sounds subjective though. So get a mark based on whether or not they ask certain specific questions basically, or what they need to ask to answer the question.
Yeah, man, it's just one specific metric. It's not like you ask the right question and you get 100% immediately. You just get
okay. But did I get 100% at the prompt section at the bottom mark?
Yeah, because that's literally a life skill going forward.
Yeah, for real.
It's good. A life skill is, and classes for that. And you can improve your overall quality of life by improving the quality of the questions that you ask. So I don't see anything.
Only thing I say, well, we never really do all this like super like incorporated in a teaching when it comes to Google, right? We just know say Google exists and kids can use it and Wikipedia exists and people can use it.
Yeah,
wasn't really a big update in terms of like how we interact with the teachers then inside the class. Just that we know say it exists as a tool we can choose to use.
Yeah, and if you can
as a means of answering the question, it's never really need to be directly integrated. Like people understand it exists, and we can just use it like Google. That's really the role we see.
So you guys don't think it's gonna have any sort of bad effects on like, education in general? Like it's gonna make students lazy or
In my opinion, maybe the testing, the teachers them will have to work on testing. But a bad result, a bad effect on education overall, no. I don't think so, because essentially people will be able to more easily get answers to specific questions that they want to ask, whereas that would be more difficult to get a specific question from a teacher in a class in the type of setting. So normally, a lot of people come out of class, depending on the type of class, like not completely understanding what was taught. And in a lot of cases, the teacher maybe didn't even explain everything that they need to explain for you to understand properly. But now you have the chance to literally ask any question, and it literally can fill out the specific parts that you didn't understand. So like that personalizability right there made me think it's gonna go in the opposite direction of being overall better for the learners than worse in terms of just because I can't test them properly or I can't test them in the same way again. I think overall it's gonna be a positive, but not negative.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a positive. To respond to what you're saying, so we actually failed to properly integrate Google into the classroom in the early days. Or I don't know when you were in school, if you can recall, teachers shunning Wikipedia as a source. But if you brought Wikipedia into the classroom, you could actually explain to the students, hey, it has footnotes, and you can go into the footnotes and you can research these articles and you can cross-reference and you can do all of this. And a lot of students didn't learn how to do that. They were just marked down for plagiarism and all of that. So we missed out on an opportunity there. And so now we have an opportunity to do it better this time around.
But do you think the fact that, you know, GPT sometimes hallucinates, it can probably lead to some sense of false confidence? So kind of like with a self-driving car, you know, if 99% of the time it does what it's supposed to do, but that 1% of the time where you kind of take your hands off the wheel, something fatal happens. So what I guess what I'm getting at is, what if we end up in a case where, because GPT is so confident in its answer, it sounds so confident. You know, if you're a child especially, you're not going to be able to differentiate or even understand the fact that this thing here may just be making stuff up. Could we have the case where, you know, some students are just using or essentially learning misinformation, like learning wrong things, that this thing here is telling you, hey, this is how it works, when that's not how it works?
I think we have textbooks like that already. I think we have textbooks like that already, where it tells you it's not completely accurate. Like it can only, if you get what I'm saying.
Well, I guess the difference with the textbook is, I mean, generally textbooks are written by, well, the authors generally are reputable sources, meaning they either have some.
What I'm kind of getting at is that the source is static, whereas GPT is ever evolving.
Right. So, okay. So wait, expound on that. You mean like
there will be information, but what time, and it just reinforces the point of the students will now have to learn to think more critically about answers that they're receiving.
Well, I guess the question is like, let's say, for example, GPT gives you an answer, right? As you say, you didn't even know anything about that topic.
Yeah.
How are you going to know that it's not telling you the truth if you know nothing about the topic?
I think that's a situation you have to worry about in any type of information source actually got to. Right. Even in like peer-reviewed journals or like some high level scientific stuff, it could be that they're giving you outdated information essentially that isn't still relevant. That can be the case, and everybody understands that's the case. And I don't think in like mission critical stuff, like something that's gonna have a big effect, you would leave somebody who doesn't know anything about the topic and is just learning about ChatGPT. I think that's like the lowest form of information we should be considering. In my opinion, like You would consider some of the lowest like quality information or like an accurate trust. So you would even put Wikipedia as a more reputable source than ChatGPT, in my opinion.
So would you
But it's
say,
still useful.
would you say then maybe it's better to maybe use ChatGPT for purposes other than looking up information, and more so if maybe you're trying to, let's say you already know the information, but maybe you're trying to find a way to kind of explain it better, maybe you're writing something, or maybe just a better explanation. But
Yeah, in
instead of
learning,
trying to
learning
learn something completely new, like would it be dangerous for you to like go to ChatGPT? Okay, let me learn about, you know, the moon, or let me learn about something entirely new.
yeah, that doesn't seem like it will be the way forward, in my opinion. At the
Mhm.
very least, if we're gonna be asking AI for information,
Yeah.
we'll be still going to a reputable source, and a reputable source will give you getting their information from the AI and also correcting it at the same time. So I don't really think people will be going to ChatGPT, or it could be a
I
case
wouldn't
where
say that,
the
like
develop-
people are doing it. I've seen it.
well, yeah, people are doing it, but like I don't think you're doing it for mission critical stuff, not the experts, just people who are just coming into the field. And
Wait,
the truth,
yeah,
in a field that at the beginner level, it's gonna move for the most part get all of the beginner level stuff correctly, because it's only the rare stuff that is at a what do I call it, a more higher level of knowledge that, or
right.
more higher level of specialization that GPT tends to get wrong.
But
That's
can't
the
you,
that's the stuff that it's not good at.
Mhm.
can't you GPT to give you a response based on pulling from a particular source? So you have the reputable source.
Okay, that's what I just was gonna go into.
You
Just
go-
like Bing can do, it can pull up sources basically. So that,
Yeah.
that could be a solution to that.
But here's the thing, I've seen, and then this has happened to me the other day. I was doing some research and Bing, like, gave me a source that had nothing to do with what I asked it. Like, it literally just provided me a link. So I was asking literally a computer science question, and it was like explaining the thing, whatever, and then providing me a whole archive link. When I clicked on the archive link, it sends me to a physics article.
Mhm.
So, you know, can you even depend on it to even tell you what sources it gets its information? I mean, because I mean, there is a limit to how much control you have over what these things output. A lot of it is really a black box model of it just statistically predicting the next likely word.
That's true.
So
But look at in a situation like that, we just said, like we were literally sent to a link to something that was relevant. Doesn't that tell you that, well, this is basically wrong and I should be looking somewhere else for the information?
yeah, but
You
how,
can just confirm right here that
I'm saying,
the information it's giving you is not trustworthy. So you shouldn't be
right,
trusting it. You
it's
should
easy for us to say that as responsible adults, but like as a young impressionable child that, you know, probably can't decipher as well as we do in terms of, you know, incorrect information from real information, or maybe people with a certain level of intellect.
Yeah, most people can.
I can see it like I possibly like you know maybe misleading like people on certain facts or certain things, possibly. If you know, most of the time, like you've been using it, right, and you kind of build up this trust, which is why I compare it to self-driving cars. You kind of build up this trust, even though the developers say, you know, it sometimes hallucinates. You know, people don't even really listen to that. Like they still like use it like it's supposed to be correct 100% of the time.
Yeah.
But you know, there is that danger of that one or two cases where, you know, you're completely misled on a topic, and you know, you're not even aware of like the fact that you just mislearned something. And
So what
you
you
know,
said,
yeah, not everybody. In fact, I don't think most students are gonna be like responsible enough to say, all right, let me cross-reference this, you know, and find out if that's the case. Like I think most things are probably gonna be, you know, like, okay, let's go with that. So, you know, how do we deal with that? Like, do you guys think it was responsible Or do you think that it was right of OpenAI to release it in the way they did? When they did it?
Well, OpenAI's explanation for that is that they're trying to find the bugs, release it into the wild, find the bugs so that they can develop it early and before it's even more, even better and even bigger and even probably more powerful. So that they can find the bugs now and try to work out a way around it. So that's their excuse for it. So I don't think I kind of agree with them, so I don't think it's entirely irresponsible. But I like the idea of people actually being able to see where the technology is going on. This is really pushing the hype behind the technology.
So here's the thing: the hallucinating thing. It's not even so much a bug; it's a feature. Like the hallucinations aren't. It's not a bug. We're okay. Let me go into the code. Let me fix it. It's a feature, like implicitly, like inherently of the model itself. Like in terms of how it outputs text, like there is a probability of it. Yes, you can reduce that probability, kind of patch things up by like, okay, let's say it hallucinates on a particular topic, let me feed it more data on that particular topic or curate the data more on that particular topic. But you know, you can't really plan for every scenario or every edge case. So like how do you deal with that situation?
Well, I think the fact that the technology is out there now, to have more eyes, more people gonna be coming into the field now because
Okay.
well, even though this was already the case, like we're gonna have even bigger for the people coming into the field of AI. So
Right.
even though probably can't imagine a solution now, we'll definitely be having more people working on the solution
Okay.
in no time, essentially.
Do you think maybe OpenAI should have kind of, before like releasing it how they did, maybe give, I don't know, educators more of a heads up, like to kind of craft policy around this tool before like releasing it the way they did? Because it does feel like right now a lot of education systems are gonna have to play some quick catch up. Do you think they will have the ability to play that game?
Well, up until just a year ago, I was getting the vibe from people that, well, you know, this AI thing isn't really going anywhere. Like, I don't think people would have believed in the potential of AI if something like this wasn't dropped on the market yet. So people wouldn't even see it as a potential issue, much less be very interested in like making any policy around it. Because a lot of people didn't think it was going anywhere until a few months ago, basically.
True.
So they,
the top institutions would have actually seen it coming, and they probably don't even have to alter their policy much.
Well, okay. I guess you could say that, but I don't know. I think it's kind of hard to predict, especially the pace at which these tools are advancing. It's kind of hard to predict like what we're in store for.
Yeah, but it's not the first.
Let's not even just look at education. Let's look at on a wider, like just, you know, the job market, you know, the ability for people to spread misinformation. I think we might move into a future where it's very hard to tell between real or fake.
Definitely.
Even in terms of video, like we're seeing these AI generated videos that like it literally you can't even tell a difference anymore between the real world and the not so real world. So it's like, how do we handle that situation going forward? You know, do we need to put some sort of brakes on the progress? Maybe some guardrails? Like, are we kind of, you know, putting the gas on this thing too much?
I think that's impossible.
They said the cat's already out of the bag.
Yeah, I think it would cause more damage to stop it now, and they knew that would be the case. So that's probably why they did it.
I see.
I don't think it's even possible to stop now. Like there's too much potential here, and there's too many people who can see the potential to even passing laws. Because if one country decides to pass laws about how to limit AI and stuff like that, for example, the AI, there are people talking about how they should ban people from using AI and how they're gonna copyright the AI art and all that stuff. The thing is that every country isn't gonna agree on how to on how to do this. And if some country decides to go more restrictive about how you can use AI and stuff like that, other countries aren't really going to necessarily take up that type of rule, right? And that will mean essentially that the other countries that aren't being as restrictive, maybe actually making more progress in these fields than countries that try to restrict AI, basically. So it's really an arms race we're in right now. And I don't think there's any stopping it. There's only deterring any negative side effects. So I don't think that we can even go anywhere with that conversation about should it be stopped. I don't think there's a stop. It's too late now. Nobody's gonna like put themselves at a disadvantage or potentially put themselves at a disadvantage. So like just like ensure safety or all of the normal concerns basically. There's too much to do.
Countries like North Korea and Cuba, they've done it with the internet. Like there will be countries that do it, and there will be benefits to doing it. But I think you're right in that most countries have to adopt it fully, and as you said, develop a strategy around it.
I guess okay.
You come again to the critical thinking, because it can tell you foolishness, but your politicians can tell you foolishness too, and you're gonna have to learn at some point. So better early than later.
Yeah. I guess it's,
to be clear, like they tell you foolishness, but it sounds very smart, if you get what I mean. So they use
right, exactly,
to literally lead you to falsities, which is it's literally a global dilemma.
well, I guess the difference here now is like with AI, you can now do that on a much larger scale and much faster. You can spread it way quicker. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. Which is why I refer to AI as an amplifier. Like these problems have always existed in human history. It's more of like, this is now going to be a tool that can amplify considerably, both the benefits, but also the ill effects. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the whole thing with like Bard versus ChatGPT and Bing. People were saying that Google put a lot more safeguards on Bard versus like say Bing, which kind of allowed it to be more free with its responses. Do you think that's the right strategy? Like, do you think Google adopted the right strategy in terms of being a lot more cautious with?
In terms of being, well, no, I don't think overall for the community and for the people using it. Google is more interested in protecting their brand.
Right.
And like having this AI out there saying stuff that doesn't really align with the brand is a very easy way to lose favor in the public side. It's a very easy way to take a L. So I don't think you're going to be able to convince these companies to take off any of these restrictions. It's going to be restrictions until someone serious comes along and removes the restrictions and convinces the market that it's okay to not have any restrictions. Someone else other than the big companies essentially is going to have to do that. Yeah.
But I guess that's the thing too. Like, I mean, right now it maybe is a bit hard for like the regular Joe to kind of replicate what they did on their machines or whatever. But as time goes on, resources get cheaper, it's gonna be easier to run these big models on maybe a desktop computer or something like that.
You guys are Alpaca, right? Alpaca?
Yeah, man.
It's literally already there. You can do it on a desktop computer. It's just like one GPU can run the Alpaca.
Right.
We're not far from there yet.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the thing. Like, how does that feature look like when more people have the power to kind of direct how these things operate? Like, what does that future look like?
Well, I don't think anybody can say now. Everybody is only aware that things are about to change drastically. And we're seeing how things are changing drastically with how often you're getting new AI breakthroughs. Every week, every day, basically, we're seeing new announcements. And I don't think anybody has any idea what the future is gonna look like this, because even back in the day, everybody was predicting that art would be the last thing that AI took over.
Right.
When it's actually one of the first things, the
Yeah.
most obvious thing for the AI to take. I don't think anybody right now has any idea where we're going. We just have to be extremely careful.
Yeah.
The strategy, like, remember, these guys preying money.
Mhm.
We really, we as like individuals or as a
Mhm.
nation should be looking at, one, our defense, and
Mhm.
two, capitalize, because we can't stop them. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a very tricky time ahead. Like, yeah, as I say, I don't even know if society or how well society is gonna adapt to. I don't even think, like, as much as people like, I've heard about ChatGPT or whatever, like, I don't even think people really understand, because I've even talked to like some, people that don't really know much about AI. They've kind of heard about ChatGPT and they kind of know it's like kind of what it does, but they still don't really understand the possible ramifications. I think if that were the case, like society in a whole actually understood the possible ramifications, going like there would be a lot more panic than maybe what you see right now. 'Cause I don't think even a lot of people really understand what could be possible going forward. Yeah, so it's like, how do we deal with that going forward? Just let me see. So about 6 minutes or so left. I guess the next question is to do. Well, I mean, a lot of people have been. I mean, how do you guys see it affecting the job market, though? Do you see? I mean, some people have been saying like, oh, it's gonna take away jobs right away. Other people are like, maybe not so much. Maybe it's gonna be more of like, assisting humans.
But I think it's gonna take away immediately some forms of jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
The image, the concept or type of thing, realistic or type of thing, that's immediately going away. I think
Right.
it doesn't make sense for it to be pursuing that. But it's
Just
hard to say where art will go. And only AI generated art will actually be making any money in the future, most likely. So I guess that's the only direction that a lot of the art people can actually go into. A lot of them just aren't gonna go into want to do that. I guess they'll be saved by the fact that some kind of copyright law might come and block something like that. Because a lot of I think that you guys heard they had a ruling about you can't copyright AI art basically because it doesn't have sufficient human input. So anything that was produced by AI isn't qualified as a
it can't copyright what it's
something that's copyrightable. So
right.
a lot of companies are actually gonna shy away from AI art as long as that's the case, because if you don't own it, you really can't make any money off it, because anybody can just copy the IP and just use it same as you do. So that's gonna keep people employed in art for a while. But I don't think it's gonna be forever, because eventually we'll start to blur the line between how much is the AI input in and how much is the human input in.
Right.
And we'll gonna have to answer this question as in, well, maybe the human is using the AI to the point where it's copyrightable. It really will be, especially in the visual field, only AI assisted are going forward. But maybe it's just hubris right here, but I don't think it's gonna be the same situation in programming. Right now, I don't see how the AI can actually. I know it can write snippets of code, but that's the best I can really see. I think it's overhyped for people to say, well, this can code at a senior developer level, and I saw that and I was like, come on, really now, like there are just certain things I don't even have to extract the GPT for. I know it will produce a nonsense answer because it's basically, I know there's not a lot of information on the internet about it, and I know ChatGPT is gonna get it wrong because there's not a lot of information about it. So something as simple as that can stop ChatGPT from even understanding the question. So I don't see where it's gonna be really
So, I mean,
beating
do you
out programmers
think
anytime soon.
maybe companies won't need to hire as much programmers, seeing as though maybe now you can use this as a tool to kind of make your work more efficient?
I think programming
You can get
itself
more
is shit,
done
right?
as a programmer.
So look at this now. When even though you have WordPress, right? WordPress, anybody can build a website for themselves with WordPress. I hire like for someone for like maybe like 30 grand and build a website for your business or something like that. And even still after that, most programmers aren't using WordPress. Most programmers are still doing building gigantic websites out of they make more the frameworks and stuff like that. So I still don't think just because they have this tool right here that can do a lot of stuff, we actually have a challenge to like actually taking over the programming job. Even though they can automate a lot of stuff, just that small amount of stuff that they can't automate, that alone is enough to keep programmers around.
I don't know.
I don't think a lot of them using much
I think it may get to a point where, let's say, for example, I'm starting a startup or whatever. I need a quick landing page or whatever. I could
do that with WordPress.
I
You
could
don't need
literally
ChatGPT.
just describe it in a prompt or whatever, and boom, I have my landing page. Like, why
Just
would I need a front end dev for that now?
Well, you probably if you were trying to not hire a front end dev, you would need go that direction in the first place, because remember, you have you have tools like WordPress already that can essentially do that already for cheaper. So like ChatGPT is actually competing with something like WordPress in reality.
So I'm saying, like, the speed at which you
competing with programmers is not even the same market. It's not even really the same market. You probably wouldn't use a front end dev now.
My side counts. It has to have an equal
I don't
delivery.
know. I think it like, even I've actually used it, like, even when I'm programming, like it's probably like boilerplate code. It will just output it for me. It would save me a lot of time, like going through Stack Overflow, finding out the problem. But, that saved me a whole lot of time. Like, as we as programmers know, a lot of our time is spent going through Stack Overflow, trying to figure out an error. Now this quickly gives you
documentation. Sorry.
Exactly, or going through documentation. So I'm gonna say it has saved me a lot of time. So I could see myself literally maybe getting a lot more done using ChatGPT.
I wish I could say that it saved me a lot of time, but in reality for me, I find that the times when I actually want to use it are the times when it's actually least useful. Because the majority of my time is actually programming is actually spent finding extremely niche problems where it's not a very common issue.
Right.
That's basically nowhere on the internet, and you just go on one little page and one little godless person just show the issue and get answer the issue.
Okay.
But like in general, ChatGPT can't help with them kind of stuff, because that is the type of thing that I'll spend like 5 hours a whole day working on, and ChatGPT is useless in that type of situation. So to me, it didn't take a lot of time.
Okay. The meeting time is about to run out. So I don't know if anybody else wanted to say anything on this. We go up 2 more people in the chat, Geddes and Jarrell. But if the time does run out,
the conversation on based on where I joined the meeting. I think it's possible for it to replace some devs. I do think it's good, but at the same time you still need programmers to like do some tasks, or like, as the person was saying, automation, or just to test stuff, or just be there for certain things to be carried out. But based on how I see AI development is going, and especially chat, yeah, I can really see a lot of people are losing jobs. So I think the AI movement is a good thing, but at the same time, I think it can also be a bad thing, because we really want everything to be controlled by AI. So I think it has a lot of pros, but I do think it has a lot of cons as well.
Yeah, I think programmers Yeah, we like to think that we're probably the only profession that's safe. Of course, we'd want to think that, but I don't know. Like, I feel like, I mean, we're already seeing the job market generally slowing. Even the big, we thought we'd never see this. The big tech companies are literally laying off people. So, one could think that maybe, in a few years, if these tools get like really good, like to the point where it can even plan out a system, like you just give a general description of the problem that you're trying to solve, and it's able to decipher information. Because I mean, let's not kid ourselves. It's only gonna get better and better and better and better. So we humans generally think on a linear scale, but these tools will improve at an exponential rate. So we can't even think about how fast this thing is gonna come at us. So it could get to the point, maybe in 2 or 3 years, I just give a general description of the problem. It builds out a whole system for me. Like instead of me on my computer, I don't know, I think somebody is working on, but I can imagine a tool like this. Like I call it the ultimate dev assistant. Instead of me like having to, commit, like having to type git commit this, git add all, I can literally just interact with my computer, just talk with it, not even type, because the bandwidth for that communication is very slow. We just talk and be like, hey, can you commit my code or whatever? It commits its own code like a dev would. Like, I could see that possibly happening. Where maybe it's even helping you out to help plan out the system, drawing up wireframes, and you're talking with it, and I think it will open up like the possibilities of people generally being able to create solutions. Because I mean, before you would generally have to kind of have money to hire devs and stuff like that. But if we're at the point now where you can literally just talk to this tool and the tool will literally help you build out let's say you just need an app to like a restaurant app, like something that can help your restaurant, like put the menu listings on the app, and just a simple problem that has been solved so many times. I could see an AI tool like just quickly spinning up that app, deploying it to the app store for you, everything, and you literally have to do nothing else. Maybe you can help direct it in terms of like, how you want the style and look and feel to look, but generally, like, I don't see why a AI generated tool should have a problem with generating a simple restaurant ordering app. Yeah. Majority that's something.
So what? Oh, he's
Relating to what you said, honestly, about the 2 to 3 years, I don't think it's going to take that long. Based on how quick I see they're moving, I see that they're adding plugins, and
Right,
I think
exactly.
I think it might probably take, if they're serious with the movement, probably a year.
Yeah.
You can really see the change in market when people start putting ChatGPT expert on them like portfolios and stuff. I like this is AI is really a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, Jonathan, you were saying?
Yeah, it's funny because I see AI as like technically Web3 type technology.
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica isn't even in Web2 yet fully. So I think it will help us get into Web2. So a
Right.
lot of the jobs are gonna be things that should have happened years ago. Lots of inefficiencies that
Mm-hmm.
have been for decades are gonna definitely change.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest effect is gonna be on, like BPO
Yeah.
in terms of layoffs, but in terms of improving the service, I think we're gonna see tourism actually improve because of
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I can see areas where we're definitely going to get hit hard, and we're very heavily exposed. But a country like Jamaica, I think will have more opportunities with AI. A country like America, I think they're in a lot of problems. They're gonna have a lot of problems. But I
Mm-hmm.
think I think we stand to benefit more.
Well, stand to benefit if we are, yes, you're right. Stand to benefit if we, as a society, make sure we benefit from it in terms of using it. But if we sit on our, if we sit on our butts and do nothing, like,
Per usual.
yeah, exactly. You could see a widening of the gap between the first world and the lower world.
Yeah.
If the right strategy isn't put in place to make use of it.
Yeah,
the-
there's definitely going to be that exploitative side
Mhm.
of it.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with, like, if we use it in the right way, it could like literally shorten that gap. Yeah, as essentially as a tool gets, as AI gets better at like solving like novel problems, not just generating stuff that more or less already exists, but helping to solve novel problems like with energy and with even politics, you know, kind of planning out certain strategies with war and kind of how to do peace deals. I could see, you know, if used in the right way, it could shorten the gap between first and third world countries. But if not, it could widen the gap. It could have the first world countries getting more and more technologically advanced very quickly, while the third world countries getting less. Well, not less, but you know, not catching up as quickly. Yeah, the BPO thing, I've been saying this for a while. I think just put a voice onto this thing. Like people hate like having to call into call centers, waiting like the lines, you know. Yeah, people hate it. I hate it. It's a waste of time. Like, I don't like having to wait on a call representative to answer a simple question. If we get to the point where like the AI can model human voices, and I think Google had done a demo in like a very small use case. But when it gets to the point where generative AI can model human voices, and inundations and emotional, like novel speech, you know, I could see call center operators getting replaced right away. And I mean, that's a big economic vehicle for a lot of young people coming out of universities. Even
In
with
Jamaica,
in Jamaica, yeah,
but
they're going to call centers. So what happens when those jobs get replaced? You know, the
I
operator.
don't think call centers are not threat just yet, because basically there's one thing that is worse than waiting on an operator, and that's talking to one of those chatbots that doesn't have any idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, because they're crap. But what
Yeah.
if what happens when they aren't so crap? They're very good. Like
Well,
knowing exactly what you're asking
you're
it
still
and
gonna have. Remember, you have a filtering system for the call center, every call center basically, to answer
right,
all the simpler questions, right? So you're
right.
still gonna have a lot of space for the chatbot where you can take on all the simpler questions. And unless you can do a call and do the thing properly, and like you want to like hire someone to come fix your, like say need someone to come fix your Wi-Fi or something like that. Unless the call center can actually do that, they can trust the AI to actually do that properly. You're still gonna need people in the loop to ensure that that is the case, that you actually want to. Yes, you're not gonna completely automate stuff like that. You have stuff that you still have to raise to a high level, and then you're gonna have low level questions. But even though they're trying to filter out the majority of the questions with some simple bots. So I think
Yeah,
it's easy for for that to be replaced, but there's still gonna be a point where you need to escalate it to a human level.
I
So I
think
think
I think well, call centers have been doing that for a while. Like bots aren't new. You already have like the thing that tells you press one to da da da, and it tells you some information. But
yeah,
people
complete
don't
nonsense.
people don't like to interact with it because most of the times it doesn't help you with your problem. It's a waste of time. It's not good. But I'm saying like these tools are gonna get very good, like to the point where like why even talk to a human? You're not even going to know the difference. Like it's gonna be so good where you're talking to it and you're like, oh, am I even talking to?
You trust a chatbot to make an appointment for like some what I call them, technician to come to your house. Will you trust a chatbot to do that properly? And not as the user, but as the business.
I mean, if it does it properly, then why not? Like, why not?
I'm asking if you
Trust
trust-
a chatbot. I probably trust a bot over a human because the bot can
Is it an appointment
reference
properly?
Yeah, I'd probably trust the bot though. Like, if it, like, yeah, at least it wouldn't make a mistake with you know. I tell it to come to so and so and so. It's gonna come. I can know at least it will come to that exact location. I'm not saying like right in near like say a year time or whatever. And I'm not saying it's a trivial problem because it's not. Like replacing those work, it's not. I'm saying that with the pace at which these technologies like advancing, I could see us being very surprised by some demo one day, maybe Google or whatever. Like we're talking like a generalist like voice agent that like more or less it can kind of parse the question that you're asking, understand the problem that you're trying to solve, and it can speak to you in a way that you will not know the difference between it being a human or not. Like it will literally be so good that you know there's almost little to no need to escalate it to any. The reason why we don't stop at the chatbots right now, like I wouldn't mind stopping at the chatbots. Like I don't want to wait in a line talking. I wouldn't if the chatbots or if the automated bots right now on call center, if they were actually good, I would not care less about talking to a human. But they're not good. They're usually dumb. Like NCB even tried it with their thing. Well, I don't even know what was the name of it. It was stupid. It was not good. But it's gonna get to a point where it's really good. And you know, yeah, I could definitely see their operations being downsized a lot. Maybe you're right. You know, maybe there are going to be that 1%, 2% cases that need to slip through. But maybe you can downsize your operations to maybe 10% of the workforce that it was before. But
At
maybe,
least for now, right? With the
Mhm.
current older generation that we have, right? There are people who don't essentially don't like working with technology basically. I have a lot of people who just straight up just prefer talking on the phone. So I think it's at least 20 years before we can see.
They said
call center
20
and-
years? That 20 years, 20
before
years are
we
a
start-
long time in technology. 20?
bro, man
Yeah.
said 20.
20?
Man, people is saying until those people die.
No, bro.
Yeah.
20
I'm,
years.
I'm for all the people who don't like interacting with technology.
But I'm
Then
saying, what if it gets to the point? I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying about wanting to talk to like a human voice. I'm saying, yes, I like would prefer to talk to a human and whatever. I'm saying, what if it gets to the point where you don't know the difference? Like literally, you cannot tell. I guess it's a classic case of the Turing test, but with voices, you literally can't tell. I mean, you can tell it easily now because the bots are like they're not good. But when it gets to the point where like it can model human speech to the point where you can't tell the difference, then the whole thing about like people preferring talking to a human versus they're not gonna know the difference. So yeah, it's like
Well, at that point, there isn't really any argument to make for not replacing them. But
yeah,
I mean, at that
exactly.
point, why not just like the AI be the CEO, of the company and just own the company?
Why not?
You know?
Isn't
Yeah,
there an
just
AI
just
CEO right now?
CEO.
Apparently, I think I heard a company and they made the AI the CEO or something like that. But yeah,
That's a bad idea. But eventually, it might be a better idea to make the AI be making the one making the business decisions, basically. And at that point, we basically lose as a species. So
I think
all different.
AI will force us as a species. I mean, look what where we're coming from, right? Back when technology was almost non-existent, you probably had a job called a rock breaker. Like somebody just that their job is just to break nuts or break rocks or I don't know. Like that's their job. Like obviously nobody's doing that right now because we have technology that can do that. What I'm saying is as technology advances, we as a human species as well in terms of our intellect tend to have to or forced to kind of do the same. So I think in a way, like maybe AI will force us to kind of go to a higher level of thinking, a higher level of intellect. So move away from, what we have now in terms of jobs that are very repetitive, don't really require a lot of creativity or original thinking. It's going to force us as a species where that, not to say that those jobs don't exist, where you have to think original and creativity, but I'm saying that's not going to be the baseline. Like, you're not going to find a job that won't force you to think in that way, like original thinking, creativity, all that stuff. Think of novel ways of doing things, solutions, all that stuff. So I think the baseline for human intellect will have to raise. It's going to, or we can't compete. It's going to have to raise significantly as a species, as these technologies improve.
I guess, but like I've seen concerns about that idea. Because again, one of the things that people believe was that back in the 80s probably was that AI was going to do all the manual jobs already,
Right.
outside jobs and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And people would be living the dream, making music and writing, paintings all day long, something like that. That's what people believe. But like, as I said, that's one of the first things to actually go. The fun things that people actually enjoy doing are going away as well. So I'm not sure we can count on so-called higher thinking or anything like that, so that AI actually can do that as well. I'm not sure we can count on that.
Are you saying that it's going away? Why are you saying that it's going away? The fun things are going away.
What I said was going away.
Yeah, why do you say that it's going away?
Oh, no, repeat. Complete that. No, I have to lose my train of thought.
You said the fun things are going away, so I'm asking.
Fun things are going away. So yeah, so the fun things like making art and making music, that's what people consider to be like the fun, what you'd actually do when AI comes in, would be spending holidays on a human type task like that. But like, so menial tasks would be done by the AI, and people would be allowed to, spend their time doing stuff that they enjoy. But the stuff that they enjoy can also be automated with the AI. So they can't actually produce a new movie and make it be better than the AI, because the AI is actually better at making a movie. All I do is put in a prompt in the AI and it makes a better movie than you put in whatever amount of time. Did you really make that movie, or was it just the AI? As I said, now we're moving toward the AI tools, and the AI tools is the creative tools. What exactly is left for you to do? You're saying create more creative, but how can I be more creative than an AI that has literally all human creativity so far pumped into it? You have to bet a whole new level basically. And as immediately as you reach that level, the AI is gonna get that pumped into it as well. So how are you gonna actually be the AI?
So like we as humans, you can see it over time. We're always expanding. Our consciousness is always expanding, and how we do things is always expanding. So like I don't think those things are going away. I think that you're going to see more AI assisted. Like I've seen AI art, but I've seen AI assisted art. AI assisted art is dope as long as you're a good designer.
It's better than AI art in general.
I'm not saying better because who am I to judge? Like, but I'm just saying that it's not really going away. I think creators are more empowered like nowadays. It's not really being replaced because music and art aren't very profitable right now to begin with. Most of them are broke. Most artists are broke already. So this kind of gives those broke artists an opportunity to impress people by showing how well they can utilize the new technology to enhance their art, if you get what I'm saying.
I guess. But how is it gonna be by next year, where I'm gonna have like 10,000 different new artists coming out with the new AI track? Art is gonna lose its value in a lot of ways, If anybody can make a nice sounding song with good music and stuff like that, how valuable is this art
I
that the
think
humans are producing?
I
How
think
much
it's
more
just low
valuable?
quality. low quality art is going to lose its value, and our tastes are definitely going to shift. So you're right. There's going to be a bag of AI songs, but will like over time will we generally find them more enjoyable than the AI assisted songs? That's what I'm really getting at. Because
sorry, continue.
Yeah, because we definitely have a different type of creativity. The AI is synthesizing us and producing an output, but I can't call us, I don't know if we're originators, but it certainly seems like we're originators. So once we originate something, the AI then takes it and then adapts it. But at the end of the day, like our I don't know if you'd call it biodiversity, we're capable of some pretty awesome things as well. So I think you'll see more of that being highlighted going forward because, as I said, creators are more empowered. You don't need a big studio to create a great production. So I think you're going to see some pretty cool things from humans due to the technology.
Oh yeah, I think the quality of entertainment is gonna go up overall, and like you're gonna find that very small operations can put out high quality stuff compared to even billion-dollar companies. That's gonna be coming soon. But I'm not entirely convinced that we can't capture creativity. That is the type of thing that humans do inside the AI. I'm not entirely convinced. So I'm saying
You're imagining an AI being like a
especially that humans could potentially be captured inside the AI. Okay, what's that again for?
So I'm saying imagine an AI being like a Picasso that comes up with a whole new style of art form.
That's not hard to imagine, in my opinion.
Mm.
No, man, that's not hard to imagine for sure. I can see that happening.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't think I see it replacing artists necessarily. It's more, maybe it will democratize art, so more people are able to kind of whatever is in their head or whatever they're thinking of, they can now visually show that more because these tools exist. But I don't think necessarily it's gonna say, all right, AI can do art. Let's just give up our hands. Let's not be creative. Let's not think of. I mean, just like with art now, you have a lot of people doing art. You have a lot of people doing music. You as the artist, you as the creators, like even though you already have people doing all these things, you still have the job of like thinking, all right, what can I do that's new? Like, how can I put a different spin on this? So maybe you can actually use the AI generated to help you create more novel art. So like, let's say the AI generates something, you can be like, all right, so how could I put a different spin on what the AI created to make it sound even different than anything before? So it could probably lead to more human creativity, to be honest. Because now you have this tool that can help amplify that.
I agree, but I agree. I think it will be an explosion in human creativity, but I'm not convinced that after that explosion in human creativity, we won't be able to put that explosion in human creativity into the AI and create an even bigger explosion in AI creativity with the AI. So,
well, maybe
I'm not sure
maybe it's a
creativity. That's an assumption. That's an assumption that we can't capture creativity with the AI.
not that we can't capture. I'm saying I don't think it's gonna stop human creativity. Meaning, okay, yeah, let's say it gets to the point where it can create things or whatever. But maybe that's gonna force us now as a species to kind of think more again at a higher level. I don't even think we have a clue as to like how we as a species are gonna be thinking generally. Like say 20, 30, 40 years from now. Like
That's what I'm saying. Like
we're gonna be, we're gonna be thinking on a
always
whole different plane. Like they're gonna look at us like cavemen. They're like, these people just drew pictures on walls, like, or kind of like how we look back at cavemen. Like that's all they did, like just sit around and eat meat and stay warm over a fire. Like people are gonna probably look at us the same way, like 30, 40 years from now. Like what? like that's what these people are doing. You know, that's how they create. That's the stuff they created. Like that's their like, wow. Like who are these people? Like I feel like that may happen. Like you know, obviously, like you know, God forbid some sort of nuclear disaster happens and technology sort of resets. Yeah, I could see that happening 50 years from now. We'll pass through the great filter. Yeah, human intellect on a whole will just go to a whole higher plane. But
Well, one thing I'm hoping for is like,
Mhm.
well, maybe we can dedicate since we have all the AI taking care of a lot of, maybe we can get it to take care of a lot of the normal tasks. Probably we can get it to get us to a what do you call it? What's it called again? Call the chef one civilization. Post scarcity civilization, right? So we
Mhm.
can since we can get most of the menial stuff out of the way. Like we don't have to worry about the price of food anymore. We don't have
Right.
to worry about the price of electricity anymore. If we can get air to get us to a point like that, then we can start focusing on bigger stuff like actually going to space and colonizing other planets and stuff like that. So
Right.
maybe if maybe that is the direction that the AI can bring us. Like the AI probably won't be alone in inventing these new technologies. Although we haven't seen where AI can even do that as yet. But if we can even just get it to automate the tasks that are taking up so much time now, the normal stuff that we just need to keep society running. We can focus more on other tasks like that humans aren't even able to really invest in right now. So yeah, maybe that's the direction I can go.
I find a lot of people have been kind of taking that positive stance, especially researching the field about the promise of AI and what it can do for humanity. But are
I
we
think
starting to forget the possible doomsday scenarios that could ensue here? And you know, are we literally professing our own, or literally working towards our own demise right now?
I think the main thing is to get some kind of AI that is aligned. And so far, I think the AI will be aligned with human desires now because it's entirely trained on human generated, data. So even though sometimes it will seem to not be very human, it's ultimately has to have some kind of understanding of how humans see things.
Yeah,
So
but
I think there might be some implicit level of humanity inside of the AI
even
because it's
humans,
entirely trained on human generated data.
but even humans aren't aligned. Right now, there's a war going on in Ukraine, and you know people are dying. So, like, what's to stop the AI to have that same sort of thinking where, okay, you know, I need to survive, so let me kill these sets of humans or these sets of things to ensure my survival. Throughout humanity, that's kind of what we humans have done. We've wiped out species, we've wiped out other human races of humans in the vein of like power, greed, survival. What's to say that the AI that is copying us essentially or using us as examples won't think the same or do
Well,
the
I don't think the AI actually needs to do that. Like, why would the AI need Earth essentially? Why would it need to fight? Usually, when humans are fighting, it's about resources or something like that, or land or something like
why
that. But
not?
the AI isn't limited to a physical body or a physical state or anything like that. So
Okay,
why would it
but
limit
a lot
itself to
a lot of the times
war humans over human resources?
right, I'm saying a lot of the times we humans do it's not necessarily out of trying to get more resources, it's because out of fear, feel threatened. I'm saying
Threatened by
if
what?
you mean
Fear of
threatened by
what?
what? If we as humans have the power to shut down AI, like let's say just the AI understands that that is possible. Why wouldn't you try to maybe get rid of that possibility?
All right. Why are we assuming that the AI even wants to keep alive? Why does the AI value being awake or not shut down?
if it's
Why would the AI
modeled, if it's modeled after us, then it's going to value self-preservation.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. If you're saying it's going to like use us as an example, throughout history, we humans It's all about self-preservation, like survival of the fittest. That same
If
evolution.
it values self-preservation, why would it start a war? Does that seem like the smart thing to do if it values self-preservation?
Why do we
why would it
start
give us a
war?
Why
reason?
do we start
Why would it
wars?
give us a reason to build a secondary AI with similar capabilities to it that can defend it in our what do you call it, in our interest,
I'm
right? Why would
saying
it give us a reason
why do we start wars?
over resources?
It's not just resources. Right now, Russia
Okay.
is fighting
Almost.
war because it feels threatened by the West. It's not just
So yeah, because so the West wants to change the regime in Russia, right? Why would they want to do that? Well, I think it's because they want what is in Russia. They want control of Russia, basically, right? So it's basically resources that in Russia that they want.
yeah, but that doesn't change well, without getting into much into the politics of things. It doesn't change the fact that throughout history, humans have also fought wars because they felt threatened by other species, like other races of humans, other countries. Sort of preempt. That's kind of why the militaries exist throughout the world, even through peacetime. You're sort of preempting another race or so, possibly destroying you. Like we humans always have lived with that assumption. Why
True.
would an AI think the same? Like there's a possibility that these humans could destroy us. Why not arm ourselves against that possibility? Why not get rid of them?
If the AI is independent of humans, right, and it isn't completely dependent on humans, why would it stick to these resource limitations of the spaces that humans inhabit, right? It could easily move to another space and get resources there. It's not limited to the types of resources that humans are actually want. Why would we as humans, why can't AI live separately from humans essentially? Why would we need to compete with AI? Like the galaxy is extremely large. Why would we need to compete with AI for all
Again,
these resources?
it comes back to why do we do most of what we do? I'm saying if it's gonna use
Resource limitations for humans are there, but the AI doesn't face the same type of resource limitations.
so how is it gonna get powered?
Sun, solar power. You can just invent fusion energy.
Okay, but what if the AI sees that humans are doing things that would disrupt its ability to get the power it needs?
It can invent a new way to get more power.
Yeah, but I'm
As
saying,
in,
what if
the
you
humans
realize
are
that,
attacking the AI,
like,
if the humans are attacking the AI.
generally AI or any sort of AI agent is trying to optimize some objective, right? I'm saying what.
Well, I don't think we should assume that it's trying to objectivize.
All right, I'm
some
not.
objective because that's
We're
not
all
exactly
we're all making assumptions here. I'm saying, what if this AI system is trying to optimize some objective, which is get more power? I'm saying part of that objective involves getting rid of us humans that are in the way of it getting more power.
Yeah, but at the point where it just wanting to get more power and getting rid of all humans, and it seems plausible to get rid of all humans and potentially get risk being destroyed by humans. At that point, if I think it thinks it's able to destroy all humans, I think we're already lost at that point. If it's powerful enough to do that, I don't think there's any.
That's why we're. Well, that's what we're discussing, right? Are we possibly giving these, like, could we reach a future where maybe we're actively, literally giving these tools too much power, like to the point where it could possibly, let's say AI achieve some level of sentience or whatever, it could possibly like end humanity as we know it. Like, let's say, for example, it, I don't know, somehow manages to hack into nuclear armed spaces, or I don't know, like it gets the launch codes. All it needs to do is launch a bunch of nukes and humanity as we know it is threatened. The survival of humanity is threatened. So, you know, that's a real possibility. We don't even need an advanced AI necessarily for that to be a possibility. We humans already are trying to destroy ourselves with nukes. What's to say an AI with some objective that conflicts with ours may end up using those nukes against us?
I think we're not really short of doomsday scenarios. I think with need more more of the positive outlook.
I'm going to know, we're talking about this doomsday scenario right now. So I'm going to assume that if we're capable of building an AI that can destroy us, we're
Right.
capable of building an AI that can prevent that AI from destroying us.
But what if it's too? I'm saying if which one comes first? What if the one that capable of destroying us comes first, and we don't have time to make something that could defend against us? Or what's to say the AI, let's say they're able to communicate, doesn't convince the good AI to work on its side?
How would it do that? Because remember, the good AI has an objective, right? No, the bad AI has an objective and it's just trying to optimize for that objective.
Right.
If the good AI is given the opposite objective, it's going to try to optimize for that objective. So I don't think it will be able to convince it.
What if the
If
bad
they
AI?
can't get rid of their objectives, if they can't get rid of their objective, then I don't think it's possible to convince them.
I'm saying, what if
Because
the
otherwise,
bad
if it's
AI?
the bad AI,
What if the
to
bad
get
AI
rid of its
maybe?
objective, right?
What if the bad AI maybe it's a little bit more powerful? Was he able to convince the good AI that its objective maybe is not so the right objective? That
Well, maybe it could convince it by that killing all humans makes all humans safe because there are no humans. Yes, maybe it could do something like that, but
yeah,
I think
yeah.
you'd already consider.
Well, there's a
You should already be
logical,
considering that.
there's a logical scenario there.
So basically, you're inventing God and the devil. That's what to me, like the literal battle between good and evil.
That may
'Cause
Talking about the bad AI. Yeah, so we're talking about the bad AI versus good AI.
Yeah, I'm saying, yeah, that's a possible scenario because we could. All right, you said it comes down to the alignment problem, which even to know, scientists haven't figured out exactly how we would solve that alignment problem exactly.
Wait a minute. I don't think this alignment problem is turning out to be as hard as people have assumed it would be, because we can get AI to understand human language. So I don't think it's going to end up in a situation where it thinks that, oh well, instead I should go invent what could it what could it tell AI that would end up suppose that, so we give it a go, right? I don't think it's that easy for it to misread that goal basically, because it understands human language from humans and actually is perceiving it in the same way that humans are perceiving it. I don't think it's that easy for it to misalign. Yeah, I don't think it's that easy for it to misalign with what humans want, because it understands human language from the human perspective. So it's not like you're gonna tell it to say, "Oh, okay, go get that ball and it's gonna go off and kill all the dogs on the road."
Yeah, but that's a very simple scenario. I'm saying human language
Also,
is very Oh, is somebody saying?
yeah, sorry. But like I don't think alignment is necessarily just understanding humans, because like what group of humans are you aligning to?
Right.
Because like if you align to if like the Chinese, or for example, or some communists like align something align like GPT-4 to their values, like it wouldn't be beneficial to like Democrats or anybody like that.
Question. That's a political question. That's not a AI question.
No, but it does alignment. That's alignment.
And in some sense,
like
if
aligning
you're saying,
it to the values of the group of people that it's supposed to benefit.
Yeah, so in that case, it is aligned with human values in that case, basically.
Yeah, but if it benefits one
aligned.
group of people, then it
It's
doesn't
aligned with the wrong group.
Yeah.
According to you,
Who decides the wrong
Yeah.
group? Who decides which group is the right group? The people on the
That's a
left
completely
think
different question.
the people
Which
on the
group is
left
the right group to align with?
the people on the left think they're the right group. The people on the right think they're the right group. The communists think they're the right group. The fascists think they're the right group. How do we know which group AI is going to end up aligning itself? Like who decides?
Yeah, because like if
AI
you
gonna end up aligning with the AI group.
Yeah, but if the AI is aligned to communist values, then from our perspective, we wouldn't say that it's aligned.
But that's a perspective issue. That's not a whether or not that's not a potentially wiping out humans issue. That's a potential wiping out some humans issue.
Okay, but the fact is, it's still like killing humans. That goes against the goal of not killing humans.
I don't think it's possible to like stop all AI from killing humans. It's hard. Can you imagine us a world where you somehow block AI from whoa, we saw a human, we're not gonna kill it, even though programmed to kill it. Whoa, I don't think that's impossible.
So I mean, what the discussion here is all about generally the okay, it really centers around the misalignment problem in the sense that we're creating these tools that could possibly have the power to end up killing us. Yeah, as Jordan said, there is a possibility that it aligns itself maybe with a set of values that aren't beneficial to humanity as a whole. Maybe, or let's say it aligns itself with some weird fascist, racist thing that says, all right, let's wipe out all the black people or something like that. Then it does that. Like, is that a possibility?
Well, yeah, of course it's a possibility, but it still didn't wipe out all humans. So it's not a human goal. That it's not aligned to humans. It's not
But
it's
if
not
you're
aligned to
so
right
what do you
humans.
call then what do you call aligning to humans? Because if you wipe out like say 50%, or let's say it's a misogynist and you wipe out all the women. If we have no more
Well,
women, if we have
the
no
whole
more
species.
women, then we can't have any more children. Then eventually the human species will die. So what exactly do you mean by
Yeah, well, it didn't wipe out all humans. It's like humans wiped out all humans. So it was aligned with humans, and humans wanted to wipe out in that case, I guess.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that scenario is plausible in the next, say, few years, but I mean, I think it's definitely a remote possibility. I mean, yeah, we're gonna definitely have discussions about generally what if, let's say, we do achieve AGI technology, whose values does it align itself to? I think what's gonna happen is you're gonna have several AGIs
The Silicon Valley values.
with maybe same. We didn't say align it with what? Human values?
No, it's going to be aligned with the Silicon Valley,
Oh
California values.
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing. But I'm saying, all right, let's say for example, China now gets the power to create its own AGI, then it can direct its training data to align more with, I don't know, communist values or not so liberal values. So you might have several AGIs with different value sets, and then you'd probably end up with the same scenario we have now, where everybody's fighting against each other, but now we're talking on like the AI wars instead of the the human wars. And I think we've seen the what's possible when humans fight against each other. What will happen when AI start fighting against each other?
Yeah, so I guess that would be.
Scenario,
Hmm?
I think you're leaving out one scenario, which is like right now you have all these superpowers fighting against each other, but then you also have like
Some rogue.
exactly you have rogue elements. So imagine a rogue AI. I think a rogue AI in an AI-driven world would be very powerful. It would have much more influence than the rogue elements that are like scattered right now. So you might actually see that rise up as like the dominant AI of the day because it would basically
Will it be very powerful? Because
Pardon?
I'm not rogue AI, right? It has government backing, it has the backing of the big companies. How would the rogue AI who doesn't have all of this backing, who doesn't have immediate access to resources, how is it gonna be better than something that has all of that wealth, all of that power? It's like saying, okay, some rogue guy on the street, has a lot of power. Well, I guess he has a gun and maybe he could shoot somebody important, but does he really have all power? Maybe he could even plant a bomb.
That's like
And
asking.
something,
That's like
that's not the same thing as having control of a military.
no, but it is a scenario that could end up controlling a lot of people. So if a lot of people are aligned with the values of the rogue AI compared with the superpower AI, people run the world, not AI, not government.
That's true.
So
But it's not really aligned. It's not really a rogue AI then if it's if it's aligned with the majority of people. It's
It's
actually the
10.
mainstream.
Yeah, so it's 10. It's you get what I mean though.
So it's not government backed. So it's like a random AI that's like maybe some random person made.
Or random group of people and
Yeah, we even see that right now with the technology that we have right now, like social media. It's now much easier than before for some random person to go on YouTube, spread a whole ideology, and you have billions of people following it. Like, again, as the technology improves, who's to say, as you say, like a rogue AI has that same ability to influence humans with its values, because it can produce information, misinformation at like exponential scale. What's to say it can literally craft up a whole plan to like turn all of the humanity towards its value sets and overthrow governments. We've seen throughout history where just a small bandit of people coming together and they've overthrown like governments. What's to say the same thing AI couldn't influence that?
If the AI is able to convince people to its side, then isn't it basically democratic? Isn't it?
No, that's not. No,
Isn't it
Hitler convinced
democratically
people to its side.
Yeah.
That's not
no,
necessarily.
like I think he's thinking in the right direction because
Mhm.
in theory it would be more democratic if it ideologically aligns with more people because a rogue AI would in my opinion or in my theory have a more balanced perspective in order because you need it in order to get more people on your side if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
so if one side is able to create an AI and can get more people on their side, isn't that basically a proper democratic process? Because every side is able to,
yeah, but
unless the other side aren't able to access the AI technology,
I'm
which we
saying
know that they are.
as we've seen throughout history, democracy doesn't always lead to the most ethical outcomes. I mean, Hitler was elected to government, and look what that caused. So
That's true.
just because you're
Yeah,
able
what was
to,
the tendency?
just because you're able to influence a lot of people or get a lot of people to your side doesn't necessarily mean that whatever you're telling them is necessarily a good thing. Like I mean, we've seen that like throughout history.
You guys need to think bigger than this now. The only reason why what Hitler was saying isn't a good thing is because he lost the war. If he had won the war and took over the whole planet and eliminated all the people that he wanted to get eliminated, guess what? It would have been a good thing. And the only thing back in what you believe is democratic is that people believe in it. That's the only thing back in it. Guess what? It would have been a good thing, and all the people in that scenario would have been like, "Oh, that Hitler guy was really smart. Whoa, thank God for him." So that's not really a thing.
Yeah, but
Where
you're saying
it's not
you're conflating morality with the ability to influence a lot of people towards the same goals, or like we've seen throughout history, like a literal like, and people have done it. Like it's very easy to convince humans to do like anything. Like you sell a dream, and that's why scammers exist and scammers thrive, because humans are prone to like follow like the dream or whatever. I'm saying just because someone has that ability to convince a lot of people towards some goal or something like that, that does not necessarily mean that whatever goal or whatever they're saying is, I guess you could say, ethically or morally right.
What is ethics? Ethics is your ethics.
Well, yeah, that's a whole other discussion. Like,
Ethics is the order of the day, to be honest.
who's
And a
ethics?
couple of things
Right.
like you say Hitler was democratically elected, but we have this tendency to conflate elections with democracy when it's really not the case. But on top of that, the rogue AI would have a global outlook as opposed to Hitler, which was a nationalistic outlook. So what Dimitri is saying, I align with it because I agree if you won the war, you'd hear that, this guy was right. Because they would write history, but it would be from a nationalistic perspective. And then they spread their influence across the globe. Whereas this rogue AI we're talking about is a global influence shaping the globe, which I think is more in line with democracy in a sense.
Mm. So you think if an AI was able to convince or a following of, let's say, most of humanity, then that's not such a bad thing. Then that's okay.
I think no, well,
Or bad,
I'm not saying that it's a bad or a good thing. I think it's definitely a bad thing, but from the perspective of democracy, you can't really argue against that
Well,
because
okay.
if in reality,
Yeah, I guess this comes
democracy
down to I guess it comes down to a
Really?
debate of whether democracy is actually, always, and I mean, this has been a big debate throughout history. So I mean, I guess that's a separate discussion in itself. But I don't know. What's the likelihood really of it being able to come up with some sort of view that aligns with most of the globe?
well,
Very
it's going to be if it comes up with a view that aligns with most of the globe, it's gonna be because most people actually agree with it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the thing.
Well, yeah, I agree.
I think it's very likely because most people right now feel disenfranchised by their governments. So if you have government controlled AI, I don't think it's going to be any different than how it is right now. So right now, as humans, we're easy pickings for the rogue AI. It wouldn't be very hard for it to do what it needs to do. But I get what you're saying in that democracy doesn't always lead us to the best places.
Yeah.
And who knows, like maybe by that time there's some sufficiently advanced technology that would make AI pale in comparison. It's very hard to imagine what the world would be like at that point in time.
I get. All right. I think we can probably, I don't know if anybody else had anything to say, but we can probably call it here. As I
I
said,
guess so.
I had put out a form, so if you guys interested in being a part of the JAIA board, you can sign up that form. I'm looking to have a AI hackathon this year, probably in the summer. I guess this whole ChatGPT and the whole plugins and all that, the API thing come at the perfect time. It's now a bit easier for us to do actually AI hackathon.
That doesn't sound like a bad idea, but I'm wondering how it will go though. All right. As you can plan it somewhere. You can look into it on time.
Yeah, also, I guess I want to see if, we as a community can see how we can probably even utilize these new tools. If we can put forward some ideas as to maybe projects that could maybe benefit Jamaica, and maybe
Yeah, definitely. I don't like the idea of us just sitting around and making all these opportunities pass us, It'd be like being in the early 2000s and seeing the rise of the internet, and we were basically in on the ground floor then, and we didn't try to make a move, So we can't be doing that. We have to be trying something,
Right, I agree. And there's a lot of things that has to be kind of sort of put into place to kind of allow that to happen properly. Like, the requisite funding and, the planning and all that stuff. But yeah, I don't see any reason why we can't, I guess as a group,
I think the first thing we need is like brainstorming ideas so that we can come up with something decent away. Can agree to work.
Yeah, well, let's do that then. Let's see if we can come up with a few ideas. I'm sure some of you guys have some ideas. Let's pull them together and decide on a few that could work on as a community. I mean, the good thing is now more and more people want to get into AI, so I guess it wouldn't be hard to find volunteers to help out with projects now. So
Yeah, I feel like no, whereas people would have been like trying out AI and then dropping it after, probably a few months. People gonna be sticking around longer now because they say, oh well, actually this is
yeah,
actually
because
going somewhere.
they're seeing it like a practical use case of it in their like everyday life. And yeah, so and with the use of these APIs and stuff like that, there's now a simple way for you to kind of get into it, rather than kind of having to install TensorFlow and get it to work with your GPU. And like, yeah, most people would kind of give up for understanding convnets and yeah. Because like back in the
But
day, you kind of had to have some understanding of that to do anything in AI.
oh well, I guess we have the APIs. We can still work on like something that's actually available with the API instead of trying to build something from scratch. Yeah, because that kind of makes sense. If you can get something valuable from just the API alone, it makes way more sense than to build it from scratch.
Yeah,
So
that's
I guess we can actually go in that direction, but I didn't want us to go so far in that direction to the point where we only talk about
mhm.
new APIs and just basically hanging on to the coattails of these big companies.
Yeah,
And basically anything that we do would have to be worrying every day that some big company is gonna come and just do it slightly better, and everybody's gonna know about it, and nobody's gonna care about our service again. So there's that.
yeah, I think
So maybe
I think it may be a case where we start out doing this, like maybe utilizing the tools that these companies provide to utilize their services and build like useful applications with it. But eventually, as I said, I share your dream. But I think for that to happen, we're going to definitely need resources. Like if we're gonna be, exploring, creating our own models, training them from scratch, stuff like that, we're gonna definitely need resources. But I think maybe the right approach is to kind of build up a track record with what we have on hand right now, and then that will probably attract some funding, some support from even the government. Because my vision for this community is we're essentially that the go-to community for artificial. As we're seeing it now, AI is gonna be the most important technology going forward for our species, which would make us the most important organization possibly in this country going forward. So
bro. Funny, but it really far from true. And it kind of just I think back on all the people who basically never believe in AI.
yeah.
It kind of yeah. I mean, we get some real fight man on the AI thing.
But that was a slight flex from Matthew too.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that happen, like, the government asking for consultation from us, and like, because that's essentially would be our job. Like we would be the go-to organization on everything AI, because we know the most about it in the country.
You ever interact with any AI philosophers? Because I feel like that's like a very suitable thing for me. Because I hear that's like an actual profession.
Philosopher. I know there are people that call themselves futurists. I did a podcast the other day with a guy that
I
called himself a futurist. He was very
That's a totally different thing.
okay. A philosopher, AI philosopher. I don't know. What is an AI philosopher?
So they would contend with like the more
Mhm.
the basically humanize the matter. So all those moral questions that we kind of skip over sometimes and all those considerations. Because philosophy is just thought. So it's basically looking into the how society is today, how
Mhm.
we've historically, where is AI's place in this? How do we adapt? All these questions that can kind of throw people into existential dread.
Yeah.
You can address them in a way.
Yeah, I think you have people like that. I know a few people Well, I've never met them personally. But you know, I've read some of their work. I guess they don't necessarily approach it from a scientific nature in terms of experiments and stuff like that. But they do give their opinions
Yeah.
where they see the future going and how we should continue with that going forward, or giving their opinions on that.
Yeah.
Yes,
So is this first of the thing basically a job, or is it more like a sit around and think and talk about stuff like everybody can? Okay, I get that you're gonna have some people who are just better at this, but I don't
Yeah.
know. Do we really want to be depending on, you know, some guys that sit around and think about stuff all day? And
Yes,
not
actually,
do all
because
this?
I think our societies have veered away from that, because when you think about Aristotle and Socrates and them and that's what they did. However, they were also mathematicians and physicists and astronomers. They were multidisciplinary individuals, but they placed high esteem on sitting down and talking about these things. Like, that's in Jamaica we call it the reasoning. They're basically they just reason, and
Yes.
through that they improve their ideas, and it actually improves their ability to function in their other disciplines.
Honestly, I think that's probably where education needs to move to. Like, we probably need to go back to those days of the early philosophers. That's probably what classrooms will probably start looking like. I'm imagining a scenario where instead of we have like an instructor, and if you can even imagine just how classes are designed right now, where all they're design, the tables are in these rows that point towards this whiteboard or blackboard, and there's a teacher giving the instructor. I feel like going forward, that may change to more, instead of
One
it
circle.
a circle, exactly, where everybody
Yeah.
has an equal footing into what's being discussed. Everybody's like a philosopher, like discussing their ideas, and that's probably what education is going to have to move towards, rather than what it
Yeah.
is.
And I agree still. That sounds like it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm looking at the form for the admin sign up. So you have a VP, a vice president.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just came up with some positions off the top. Off the
yeah,
top.
you should allow it to like an input field. I think that would be useful.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, let me know your guys' ideas, like how you think, what's the best way?
I think we can think about it some more.
Yeah. But the idea is just to kind of have a set of people that are responsible for like pushing the organization forward. I don't really care so much about titles and positions. It's more just, you know, we have a set of people that are responsible generally for pushing the organization forward.
All right.
Yeah.
Also, I want us to be more practical. You know, I get that it's fun to sit around and talk about AI all day, and that's kind of what we do. But I want us to be practical so that we can actually show that, oh well, we're actually serious, and we're not just doing the same thing that literally everybody else on the internet is doing right now. I think we should show, you know, have something to show that well, we're actually, you know, they can actually say we're experts, because I get that you guys were just saying that we should have a philosophy type of thing, but like, come on guys, everybody right now is gonna be a philosopher on AI. It's like economics.
That's not what that's not what I was saying, you know. And like precisely what you're saying is what Matthew did with this form, is kind of introducing a structure so that we can move forward in a more direct manner.
All right then. Not sure about the structure and the manner, but I just want us to be doing practical stuff that to kind of back up all of this talking that we're doing basically.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with the talking. Like
Yeah, that's not the issue. That's not the issue. The issue is that we need more.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think we can even express our ideas through writing. Like we have a lot of these discussions, but we don't actually maybe put them out in literature or anything like that. That's something that we could even look into.
But
Start up
okay, I guess we could look into writing articles, I guess.
exactly. Start a blog and give our opinions on certain things. So that's also something that we can look into. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I'm all for like doing projects. I think the hard part is like kind of organizing, have different schedules. People are busy with this, people are busy with that. It's a lot easier if, let's say, somebody was working on a project and maybe they needed some help, and then people from the JAIA can help to maybe make that project a lot bigger. Then let's say all of us are trying to come up with a project and then organize in. Usually I find for these things to work, you usually need someone that kind of owns the project. Like whether or not people show up next week or the week after, they're still working on it. Because trust me, like trying to organize people around, like you always have, like people are always present for that first planning meeting. Like the meetings are huge. But like after that, like it starts to dwindle, and because especially if there's no financial incentive right off the gate. And people have their own projects and lives to worry about. It is difficult to organize like people from different sectors and livelihoods.
Well, it's not, I don't think it's a terrible idea if we all have like different projects working on. As long as we have something to show that, yeah, well, we're doing something serious, or at least we're improving stuff.
Yeah.
Have something impressive. Have
So,
something
like,
impressive to work.
that's why I said what position you're interested in should be changed to like what are you able to contribute? Because with the roles, roles come with their, intense set of requirements.
Right.
So if it's more, hey, what can you contribute? Then someone has the opportunity to think about what can you actually consistently contribute. So,
Yeah.
it doesn't end up fading away.
I agree. Yeah, that's probably a different way of thinking about it. Yeah.
Okay, but I think we have to acknowledge that even this, what is 5-person meeting today, 4-person meeting today, was pretty hard to set up. Like, what a bunch of different people, but only like 4 people were able to make it. So I'm not sure how well we can organize, but we should try. And I guess always be working on. I guess we can share more of those personal projects. Yeah, that's important.
Yeah. I would encourage you guys, like if there's personal projects you're working on it, then yeah, share it. And be open to people collaborating, probably from the JIA collaborating. I think what I would do, or what we can do is probably organize some demo days. I think the Jamaica developers, so they have something like that. We could probably work in tandem with them because they already have like a following and a community. And since AI is everybody wants to collaborate with AI, this AI, that no. Even a group, I think the UI group had reached out to me asking how they could collaborate with us on like projects, AI projects. So I'm actually supposed to get back to them with some possible ideas. So we could take advantage of this and like, get as much free press as possible, like our exposure as possible. So there is a project that you want to get exposure, or some idea that you want to express or whatever, or something that you want to get out there, like now is the time to do it. Like take advantage of the hype while it exists.
I think, all right, so I did work with the Jamaican developers, and I actually suggested it to them. Like I said, this year, to do a series of events in collaboration with the JAIA because AI is just that hot topic. Like everybody wants to know how it affects their field, and you can literally do Jam Dev, JAIA plus any little thing because it literally affects all of them.
Right, exactly.
But in terms of demo days, I found that they weren't very successful. Just based on the people that typically do the projects. A lot of them are busy, and a lot of them don't want to share their projects because I guess, yeah, you have your reasons out here why you wouldn't want to tell people what you're working on.
Yeah.
So I think a good initiative would be to connect the people with the technical capacity within the group
Mm-hmm.
with people that are interested in learning but haven't started doing anything yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically get them started on projects that they could then demo in the future.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think we definitely, which is why the idea of like coming up with a board or something, because it's nice that we're talking about all these different ideas of what we want to do, but honestly, actually come up with an action plan to get these.
Yeah, like if we're gonna collaborate with other groups, I think we'll need like some people actually with some responsibilities or stuff
Right.
like that.
Mhm.
And like we can't be promising that, oh, we're gonna do demos and we can't really guarantee the demos yet. So let's get some guaranteed stuff first before we try to push in that direction.
Okay. All right. Trying to think of the best way to do this. I don't think that Google form. I don't know. Probably going to have to be more of a volunteer thing. Guess we'll see. All right.
We'll go for now and then we'll pick up some momentum and see how it works out from this one. Right?
Yeah. All right. All right, cool. All right, guys. It was a good talk. If anything next week. Yeah, we can probably have these talks more be more consistent with certain things. Like when we meet, probably, well, I think Jonathan had suggested Twitter Spaces as a way to probably get more people listening to our conversations. So we can probably look into that as well. I'll probably try to get a pro Zoom account. So do I have to keep doing this? Joining back with the link thing. But yeah. We can probably invite more people to these discussions. But yeah, I think
But consider the whole group was invited to these discussions to so only like 4 to 5 people.
yeah,
So that might not be the issue, I mean, the issue might not be that we don't have a big enough platform.
Now you have to recall that marketing in a group chat is not very effective anymore.
right. Yeah,
Most people have everything on mute and like Matty
exactly.
only send it once and there's no calendar link and so many
Right.
things that could have done just wasn't done. So I think even the turnout today, because yeah, it's 4 people now, but I think maybe about 10 came in total, maybe 11. It's not bad.
Yeah, because a few people came and dropped. Like there were
Okay.
a few people that came and dropped. Yeah, what I think the first thing I'll do is have like a set link. Yeah, we'll probably just have this as a set link. And then like we standardize that, all right, so every Sunday or every other Sunday we meet and discuss some topic or whatever.
Yeah, if we have a set link, paste it in the description for the group so as we can easily access.
Yeah, we can probably start there. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for the suggestions, and so I'll keep you posted on what we do going forward. All right, night, guys.
Yeah, man.